I'm sending out this video to those who are doing neurofeedback training and experiencing struggles with anxiety or stress. And so first I ask you to watch this somewhat simplified video, but I'm now wanting you to expand your way of looking at this in a couple of ways. First of all, this sort of metaphor is limited because it implies that the only way we're going to influence how we perceive stress is with putting in a few valves. And I would suggest that's not accurate because A, not only can we insert ways of coping, I would think of these as coping methods, right? It's a way of releasing stress. So like they said, good sleep, exercise, uh, the right kind of diet, and so forth. But in the additional videos that I provided and what I'm going to cover next, I'm going to introduce you to heart rate variability breathing. And heart rate variability breathing, based on the research, would be the equivalent of opening up a valve that's half the size of this bucket. It's enormously helpful once you've disciplined yourself to the daily practice twice a day, 5-10 minutes twice a day. You'll see it has enormous benefit because it does several things. It not only regulates what's called heart rate variability, because when you breathe in at the peak of your in-breath, your heart rate is going at its fastest. And depending on your age, that should be perhaps, it could be anywhere between 75 and 95 at the peak. And then when you breathe out, it should be at a much slower rhythm, more like 55 to 65, right? So the heart rate on every breath should be going faster to slower. And so with stress, what happens is our breathing becomes restricted and our heart rate variability becomes limited, becomes very constricted. What that does is signal the brain that we're in a stressful situation. This changes the beta asymmetry that exists in the brain. It signals the brain that we are in a stress condition and therefore we have an elevated stress response. And when we reverse engineer this with consistent breathing using a heart rate variability approach, what happens is not only does that asymmetry message change, but the autonomic system balances between the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. So it has enormous benefit on how much we're able to release stress. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is heart rate variability and the importance of that. I shouldn't say first thing I'm going to talk about. I already discussed it, but the video that I'm going to have you watch is a short sort of explanation of that, and then I have some additional videos by Alan Watkins, who goes into his model of the impact and the power of heart rate variability. And so I'd like for you to become well versed in the why. Why do this? Because the more you are compelled, why would I do this? Why would I set aside 10 minutes to do this? Once you know the why is going to bring you great relief, particularly after you begin to develop this muscle. It's like a muscle. You have to practice it a little bit before you get the full benefit. Week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You'll see that it brings great value to your life. The video that I link you to for heart rate variability breathing looks like this. It's very simple. You're learning to breathe in at that exact rhythm and to breathe out at that pace. So it's a slow, deeper breath in. You wouldn't want this to be a shorter breath, not a complete, how much can you take in, but 3/4-ish of a full breath, and then breathe out slowly. So it's in deep and slow, and then breathing out very slowly and completely, because you don't want to end up out of breath when the bar is here and then kind of holding. And so it takes practice. It actually takes more practice than it appears to stay in harmony with this. And so once you've done this for 2 or 3 weeks and you become disciplined to it, you'll feel the benefit. You'll see that I then also suggest once you become disciplined, that you look at the heart math technology. And so you go to heartmath.com and you'll see that this is a biofeedback device that not only gives you feedback on heart rate variability, but on something called coherence in the heart rate variability rhythm. And so that is very powerful to help align the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. So I often don't suggest this up front unless you know that you're going to be a disciplined participant with heart rate variability. If you know that you're on board, then order this little device. It's $150 thereabouts. Certain times of the year they'll have a sale that brings it down to about $125. But you just put this on your finger. It's a Bluetooth to the phone, and then when you use the app, you would then follow their screen, and it'll give you a biofeedback tone that your brain, just like neurofeedback, begins to respond to that tone, and you'll see your heart rate variability and coherence then improves over time. I strongly support that if you're going to continue with heart rate variability breathing. And by the way, you can look at their science here. They've been involved in this technology for, 25 years. And so they have great summaries of research, not just that they've been a part of, but all the different studies, which has become very popular now. And this is a great general explanation of what heart rate variability, when you're measuring coherence, the difference between what that heart rate rhythm looks like. Now you can't see this on most equipment. Their equipment is measuring, I think, 11 different components of every single heartbeat, which is why they can break it down like this. It's worth spending a little time, do the research here. I think you'll find it's very compelling. I'll just show you this one summary of almost 12,000 people. This is a 6 to 9 week process, right? But look at the changes in depression, fatigue, anxiety, focus. I mean, this is remarkable, and that's without any other tech or any other process involved. So this happens with consistency and with using the biofeedback component. So I'm a big fan. Please bring it into your life if you're experiencing stress and anxiety, because it will bring value. In fact, I would say if you were going to have one practice that became a lifelong practice, you would definitely want this to be it based on the research, because it's very compelling, the impact over time. So again, at the risk of remarkable redundancy, and I apologize, I'm a big fan. Please jump in with both feet. And finally, I included a little 4-minute video, 6-minute video, I forget. But and it's for some of you, you might think, well, it's kind of silly. But as you begin to practice heart rate variability, and as you get more refined in the state that it takes you in, you'll see that you're more able to witness your thoughts. Witness, become curious about, sort of watch your thoughts without hooking on them. And so this is a kind of introduction to that process of understanding that you simply are not your thoughts. And the more we become curious, or we become interested in watching versus believing, endorsing, biting on them full on, we will find that we are able to be more resourceful. So I've included this one and another additional, more intense video on You're Not Your Thoughts. Both of them you could consume now, or you could wait a few weeks into your heart rate variability a month or so perhaps before watching them, because then you'll see that it'll be easier to follow the suggestions that are there. Okay, I think that covers it. And if you have questions, as always, you can reach out. But please jump in with both feet and go through these videos that are in this compilation. And I think you'll reap the benefits with practice. Take care. Bye-bye.